Hi, my name is Joy Apple, Microsoft MVP and Director of Success and Enablement at Orchestry. Most organizations do not wake up one day and say, you know what sounds fun? Sprawl in a cleanup project. But it usually happens because most of us are stuck between two not so great options in Microsoft 365. We either open everything up and clean up the mess later, or we lock everything down and become the request desk for every team, every site, everything the business needs to be able to get their job done. At Orchestry, we've changed that model. Instead of treating governance as something that we have to go back and fix later after all of the teams and all of the sites already exist, we build the guardrails directly into the templates, and we can open up provisioning in a controlled, almost pre-approved way so that a human being doesn't have to touch every request. And governance doesn't become this stick we go back and chase people with later when it's time to do the third cleanup project of the year.
We've recently redesigned the template configuration screens to not only streamline the template configuration process for our admins, but also to enhance our provisioning first governance capabilities. You'll notice here across the top, display, configuration, and publish. This is by and large where the action is going to happen. Display is still those details, the information that we're giving our end users to answer Governance 101, when do I use what? When you click configuration, you'll start to see already some changes and some differences. One of the new items we've added here under type, where you select the type of workspace it's going to be. You can also select the default site language for the workspace. You can now make these decisions on a template by template basis. This screen is also where you will find those very familiar cloning capabilities to point Orchestry at your live templates. I'm going to scroll back up to the top and you'll notice there is a different layout now across the screens. Governance is where you're going to make some of those template by template decisions, such as your membership limits. New to Orchestry provisioning, a maximum number of users or groups can be enforced for owners. If I scroll down on the governance tab a little bit, I'll also see that while we do still have the workspace, the container level sensitivity labels, we have now added a default library sensitivity label so we can get even more secure and compliant around the types of content allowed not only in our sites, but in our specific libraries. Back up to the top, let's take a look at automations. This is what used to be the policies tab. This is where, after you make those important decisions with your business stakeholders, compliance, legal teams, you will now come tie those archive, guest management, and workspace review policies to your template. This is what is the beginning of the end for the continuous, never-ending cleanup projects. Every time something new is provisioned with the correct governance right from the start. Security is next. Here, you're probably remembering the old configuration tab that we had. Now we have security. Those familiar group management decisions are made here on a template by template basis, such as hiding the group from the gal. But if I scroll down, you'll see site sharing settings. So Orchestry's live templated provisioning will now clone the site sharing settings from your live template to the workspaces provisioned off of that. This is where you'll also make your decisions around your default link types, sharing decisions, and those granular Teams permissions. Going back up to the top, content and storage. I'm excited about this. If you are fighting against storage thresholds constantly, now with Orchestry, you can be very granular on the site quotas that your workspaces are provisioned with. Some can be a little strict, some can have a little bit more storage if needed. Also, you'll notice here, you can provision on a template by template basis with the correct type of versioning settings. That makes the most sense for the type of workspace we're provisioning. As I go down further on the content and storage tab, notice we have both Discovery and OneDrive Sync. Discovery lets you utilize restricted content discovery as configured on your tenant. You can do the default, disabled, or enable. And then fan favorite. We give you the ability at provisioning to disable the offline sync. Basically, this lets you disable the ability to sync every item from that SharePoint site down to the user's desktop, that OneDrive sync capability. Features, we've pulled together the document templates, channels, and features under this tab. If you are still using maybe static provisioning or those more legacy type features, you'll find those here under features. And then of course, we still have for you the ability to use the power of P&P features here for your live templates. And the last tab, integrations, where you can do those post-provisioning customizations on a template by template basis. Here you'll have the ability to make particular templates enabled or disabled from Orchestry for being requested, whether or not the template should be used as a filter in the workspace directory, and who can request. So if you need to security trim, we still have that here. Instead of being on the security tab, we've got that under the publish option. And all of those screens come together to present our business users with a beautiful request process. This is how governance stops being a policy document and it begins to become a living, breathing process inside of your organization. And for most of our users, it will feel invisible. IT still controls the standards, with even greater provisioning first capabilities now available.
Provisioning first governance matters more now than ever because Copilot and AI experiences are raising the stakes. Our ungoverned and unmanaged workspaces, they're not just messy, they become a liability because when content, permissions, and discovery settings are not handled intentionally, probably means they're not truly being handled. So if you're already using Orchestry and you have not built out your templates yet, this is probably one of the highest leverage things you can do this quarter. Start with your most common, most requested workspace types. Define what good looks like. Have the conversation with your business stakeholders, with compliance, with legal, and then put those guardrails directly into the template. The goal is to not stop collaboration or the pace of collaboration. The goal is to make the right way the easy way.